Hey, here we go. Let me bump up my mic there a little bit. How's that? Good morning. It is, what day is today? Oh my gosh. It is February 15th, 2018. My name is Jeff Fritz. Welcome back to the stream. We're going to be writing some code today. We're going to be doing a little bit of .NET Core. And I've got a bunch of questions hanging out there that I want to answer today from folks who are getting started with .NET Core, AspNetCore, and want to learn a little bit more about how to get started. And look at this, I've already got somebody following me. Thank you, Vortex. I appreciate the follow. All right. So, a couple things I want to go over first. Today's hat, I'm wearing Heroes of the Storm. Of course, I'm a huge fan of Heroes of the Storm. Check it out. Our friends over at Blizzard Entertainment build it. They happen to use .NET for one or two of their products. Check it out. It's a multiplayer online battle arena MOBA, right? That's what they call those things. I'm a huge fan of the game. Really enjoy it. So I'm wearing my Heroes of the Storm hat today. Tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow is our live 8-hour online AspNetCore workshop. If you tune in for a little, if you tune in for a lot, it's completely free. I encourage you to check it out. I know some folks have some colleagues that are interested in learning and picking up how to use ASP.NET Core. I've got 3 guests that'll be joining me throughout the day. We'll be using Visual Studio Live Share throughout the day. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. You really should check it out. Let's see what else. So that's tomorrow. I've got a couple more guests that I've scheduled for the weeks ahead. We have another stream, of course, on Saturday. Let me show you what we got going on here. So here I am out at GitHub, and I installed the OctoTree extension for Firefox over here, so I can see all the contents of my repository as a folder hierarchy right here. I've started scheduling a few more guests. This weekend, my colleague Maria Nagaga is going to be coming on, and we'll be talking about Try.net. Try.net's a way for you to run .NET in your browser. Hey, good morning, Organic IT. Rich Ross will be joining us next week to talk about Azure Cognitive Services, and we're going to start building a moderation bot that will run here on stream to do a little bit of moderation for both Mixer and Twitch. There's some other services out there that do one or the other, or other things altogether. So it'll be a lot of fun to check that out. So we don't need that anymore. We figured out how to do this. Oren Novotny is going to join me late next week. We'll be talking about .NET Standard and portable class libraries. That'll be I think it'll be very interesting because folks have questions about how to use .NET Standard. And Steve Smith will join us at the end of the month to talk about successful software patterns, and we're going to look at how to improve and use better patterns inside my projects. Do I have a schedule for the workshop tomorrow? I do, and there was a question there about what's the subject of the stream. You know what? I didn't update the titles. Let's go update the titles. So I'm going to log in. Let me use LastPass here. Yes, goodbye. Come on. Log me in here. And yes, do it. There we go. I forgot to update the stream titles. So what was I saying? We're gonna do CI with ASP.NET today. There was a question about. I'm actually going to go down the list of issues here. So we're going to do CI. We're going to do dependency injection. Dependency injection and bootstrap. All right. There you go. Updated titles. Schedule for the workshop for tomorrow. So I started putting out there a page for the workshop. and other things that don't have I in their abbreviations. Yes, there's Sudoku out there ready to torment me. I don't see anybody chatting from Twitch yet. Interesting. Twitch is quiet. Everybody over there is enjoying their Amazon Echo Dots. No. I've got a bunch of information about the stream here. And you know what? I'm going to be starting at 10 a.m., just like I normally do. And we'll go for about 8 hours. Links to the Twitch and Mixer feeds, of course. You know what? You should probably... I think I put somewhere in here what to install. Here you go. I should also put a link in there because at the end of the day, we're going to actually use a little bit of Docker. So let me add that. Right, somewhere about there. At the end of the day, we will be using Docker. So you should install those tools if you'd like to follow along. There we go. And we should probably put a link out to Docker, huh? It's probably a good idea. Docker.com. Alright. Added link to Docker. Yep, go ahead, update that. Can't wait for the bot stream. Sounds like a fun project. The Twitch folks are just lurking. That's how this works. Alright. Yuck. Yuck. So, but a schedule for the stream, I could put something in here. Let's, gosh. Let me go back here. Where is it? Guests. I want to get the markup for this. And let's just steal that markup real quick. You know, that's what it looks like. And I'm going to go back over to the workshop, into the README. And let me just add a tentative schedule down here. Because as you know, on the live stream, stuff happens and schedules change. Alright. So, start time. Let's put that. Topic, guest, and Glenn isn't part of that. So we're going to start at 10 a.m. Eastern. The first topic is just going to be get started with .NET New and our first API. That sounds good. And we're going to be doing that one with Shane. I have this all like in my head because I am literally writing all this content right now. Well, not now, but you get my point. Let's see. Next one was going to be using a database with Entity Framework Core, and that's going to be with Julie. Noon, I believe I have, is when the first break is. Is it? I think that's when it is. And then at 1, I believe, is going to be Razor Pages, and that's with John Galloway. And this is where it kind of gets, where I'm not, security, we're going to do authentication and authorization. I think that's the next one. That's with John also. There we go. And then at 3 is reusable user interfaces. Oh, wait, no. Is it 3? I think it is. I don't have a guest for that one. We may need to come back to that. 4 is a Q&A break. I believe is when that one is. And then at 5 is deployment, and that's with Shane. I think that's the schedule. I'll trim it up after we get done here. And that should just look amazing on the grid there. There it is. So, no Barry? No Barry. Barry, yeah, no Barry. I don't have a bleep button that'll work with that. EF Core with Julie, yes. I'm very much looking forward to that. So I have some pages to put together that'll trim out and give some more information about this, and I'll be sharing the repository with all the samples that, at least where we expect the samples to go. They may change during the stream as we get questions. But that's kind of what we're looking at. Like I said, I'll trim this up a little bit. Some of these folks might stick around for the QA. Shane's offered to stick around for the QA break. But the whole thing, live, free, right here, Visual Studio Live Share will be used throughout it. And if you've seen Julie's comments on Twitter, you know she's pretty excited to try this out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Next tool to make for the Fritz stream, the Barry Bleeper. That's not a bad idea. I've been wanting to build a soundboard so I could drop in different sounds and whatnot. I need to get Immo sometime and have a talk about .NET Standard. You're absolutely right, Tended Meerkat 4. The other 3 Meerkats are already taken care of. They don't need tending. But the 4th one, that one needs tending. You're right. I actually have a discussion going on with Immo to try and get him to come on and do some .NET Standard work with us. It's coming. He's interested. It's coming. I didn't mention what song we're playing today. This is once again Music to Code by our friend Carl Franklin. This is Yellow is the name of this song. It was released in 2015. And once again, they're about 20 minutes long. I encourage you to check them out. I have a link to Music to Code by at the front of the stream here. Get the music. All the links that you need to get the music if you're interested in that. There's not enough time delay for a bleeper, is there? I don't actually have a time delay built in. There's a little bit of a delay on Twitch, but I do not have a delay built into the stream. This is all live. As soon as I say it, however long it takes to transcode it and ship it to you. One stream of nothing but bleeping in a techno remix beat. There's some fun. All right. If you remember from last stream, we finished putting in some of the various features. So I've got my helpme.net follower goal bar up here, and we've tweaked that a little bit, and we've got some great configuration behind that. Thanks to Sarah Suduki out there in the chat rooms. She's in both chat rooms at once because one can't contain her. So we built this out. We've got a great configuration around that. My number of followers, we built this. This is actually, both of these are being generated by an AspNet Core website. And the last one over here, and it's in the top corner there, the number of viewers, that's being generated also through that same project now. And I'm using SignalR to automatically update all of those numbers for us as the stream's going on here. It's running inside of a container, and here's what the container looks like running over here on my machine. Oh no. Stop posting links. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to add Suduki as a regular because she's been a guest, and we want to make sure that folks are able to post links who've been around for a little bit. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to come over here. That's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to go over here to my video producer tab in Twitch on my extra machine over here. Permissions. I think that's where this is. What I'm looking for. No. Where the heck is it? Settings for the channel. I'm looking for my moderators. I want to give folks access to moderate who've been sticking around for a while. Wood Dadley? 268? Welcome, Wood Dadley. Is that supposed to be like Washington Dad, WA? Is that what that is? I don't see it. I feel like Twitch has some of these options for the stream kind of garbled and hidden in different places here. Where? Oh, where? Channel feed? No. Really, it's like hiding out here. Isn't it? Can I just do /mod? There we go. Alright. Yes, I'm C# Fritz on both. Go to the respective... Yep. How do I feel about Twitch versus Mixer? Mixer is really cool because it's got a tremendous platform. It's got a tremendous platform for developers to build against. There's a lot of features there. It's got this faster than light protocol, so you really have low latency when you do stream to Mixer. So for gamers that want very low latency, they want things updated and presented as fast as possible, which would be great for things like esports presentations. Tremendous. I don't need low latency going out, so I'm not... That doesn't benefit me, per se. For developers. Yes, it is. Twitch has a good development platform also. I'm actually doing a little bit of work with their development platform now to build a couple features. But Twitch is hooked up to Amazon and your Amazon Prime account. So there's all kinds of things and benefits that you get as an Amazon Prime subscriber for free on Twitch. Like, it'll turn off all the ads on Twitch for you if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber and you hook it up to your Twitch account. Cool. That's great. And between you and me, I'd rather you see less ads from gamers and other services that don't promote some of the things that I'm interested in, right? I don't have control over those advertisements. I'd rather you see advertisements for Build, right? We've got Build registration open today, and Dev Intersection in Orlando. You know, hey, these are cool events that I'm participating in. Go check that out. There you go. Some folks with their Prime subscriptions. Worded Chain, thank you for following. I look forward to seeing you, Worded Chain, in the chat room. But if you do use your subscription on Twitch, you can subscribe to some of the streamers' channels. I don't ask you to subscribe. I ask you only to follow. There's nothing that I really do to benefit you. You get, by following, you get the notifications. That works on Mixer and Twitch. You'll get notifications when I come online. But Twitch is wired up to your Amazon account, so all your Amazon Pay stuff is already there. And I've said before, and I don't broadcast this enough, I don't think. If you do subscribe to my Twitch channel, if you do cheer in the Twitch channel, I'm flattered. I don't need the money. I don't need the subscription, but I will match your donation. And my employer matches my donations, so you actually get your donation tripled. And I'm going to take the whole thing, and I'm going to donate it to Girl Develop It. That's kind of been my policy. Twitch hasn't actually issued me a check for anything, so no issues there. But I make those. I will be making donations to Girl Develop It as that happens. Girl Develop It's a great charity organization that's trying to help ladies and underserved minorities to learn how to code, just like we're doing here. So I support them and want them to be successful. So if you do want to support me, I will match your donation, like I said, and make that, and my employer then will. So you get it tripled, and everything will go over to Girl Develop It. So, yes. So I don't have a tip jar hooked up to Twitch, but if you are using your Prime subscription to remove ads here on Twitch, and you want to subscribe to my channel, I need to put together an emote also, so that you get a cool emote when you log in, right? So I can do things like give everybody the .NET bot as an emote you can use in chat. That might be kind of cool. Who is my employer? Malachi asks. I work for Microsoft. This isn't a Microsoft-sponsored stream. There are some things that they've asked me to do as part of this that I oblige them with. But this is strictly Jeff's materials. I've done all the investment on everything for this. So, but my employer is happy to match any donation that I make. So I don't like to broadcast that just because I don't want you to think, oh, it's Microsoft broadcasting. No, I want to do things that interest me and that are easy for folks to glom onto here. All right, enough about all this stuff. Let's actually get back into some code. Right? What do you think? Code would be good. We had a couple questions come in that I want to make sure that I answer here. Of course, if you go to the live stream project here on GitHub, so C# Fritz live stream, open an issue, punch in a question, and I'll answer some of them on stream. And I'm going to answer 3 of these today here live on stream. And I think they fit together kind of nicely. The first one says, hey, let's do a show about building and deploying AspNetCore apps on a Linux VM along with a CI/CD pipeline. Okay, let's do it. I mean, that should be... that feels like a pretty standard scenario, right? We're going to do continuous integration. And this is from I am BI Pinpaul. I'll make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. So create a sample AspNetCore web app. We can do that easy. Add Docker support. Still easy. Push it to GitHub. Integrate it with Visual Studio Team Services. Push to Docker Hub. Now, this is the one that I'm kind of... I have concerns about, because when we push things to Docker Hub, it's public. Everybody can see it. And I feel like Docker Hub should be a public repository of things that you want to be publicly consumed, right? You're making a contribution. Here's an app for anybody to use. And if I'm putting my company's application on Docker Hub, then anybody can install it. Or, right, I have to set up a secret account, right, and put a password on that so that you need to log in to access that. You can do that, but Azure has the ability to create private registries, so I think I'm going to show that instead. And then configure Docker Hub Docker container on a Linux VM so it'll automatically grab updates. So this is actually a pretty standard continuous integration testing and deployment scenario. To be perfectly clear, I know very well how to do the first 3. I have a pretty good idea how to do number 4. I absolutely know how to do number 5. And I was at a session in Seattle with some of our internal folks teaching how to do exactly this step. So I want to see what I learned and give that a shot here live on stream. Now, last thing I want to highlight here is my friends, the Azure developer advocates, built this thing called the Azure Mask that will hide the API keys for me when I'm on stream so that I don't accidentally leak them to you and right, folks viewing the stream or watching the recording on YouTube later are able to log in and hijack some of those keys. That'd be bad. So what I want to do is, here's what I'm looking at going with the stream today. I want to go through these steps to set up the pipeline. And I'm not as good as my friend Donovan Brown. He can set these up and he'll probably be done it in 5 minutes flat because he knows all the buttons to push and he can bounce through those really quickly. I'll probably take closer to 20 minutes, half hour, maybe even 45 minutes. But once we're done setting that up, I want to integrate another dependency injection container here and be able to use, I think we can use, I forget which one. Oh, AutoFac. So I'll show how to inject and use AutoFac inside AspNetCore, compile it, and then redeploy and see our continuous integration stream, pick it up, compile, and deploy out to the live site. And then the last one that we'll introduce is how to add the Bootstrap components. So if you're building your first AspNetCore project, how would you get like the date picker as a tag helper inside of using particularly this NuGet package, and get that to work here. Absolutely. You are awesome. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. Is it IMBI? No, I am Bipin Paul. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name, but absolutely, I want to answer your questions. I think it's a great question, and it's actually something that I should start using with my Stream Tools project. Let's see. Playing with Scissors is here. Great to see you today. Let's see. David Geek is here. Great to see you, too. Not much. Standby relating. Writing an exceptions package. I wrote an exceptions package. Side note. Let me go to NuGet.org. What did I call it? Here it is. HTTP status cats. This is for ASP.NET 4.x, right? What this project does is it will give you cat pictures for each one of your HTTP status codes. So instead, in your ASP.NET application, if a 400 status code should be coming up, you'll get this picture, or the unauthorized. So these are all wired up inside of your ASP.NET 4. Whatever project. And they're great. It's a simple little project to just show how to update configuration files. And while I was the program manager for NuGet, this was kind of my sample project that I would refer to whenever I needed to test how a NuGet package was being managed. So check that out if you're interested. It's a fun little package to put status cats inside your ASP.NET, your full ASP.NET project. So maybe I'll port that to AspNetCore someday. That'd be kind of neat. Awesome hat. Yes. Heroes of the Storm. Love it. Such a great game. Let's start building our continuous integration pipeline and see how this goes. So let me go back to the first issue, and that is this one. All right. So let's create a sample AspNetCore web app, add Docker support, and push to GitHub. All right. So I am going to come over here. I am in Visual Studio 2017. In Visual Studio, if I say File New Project, and I choose an AspNetCore, there it is, AspNetCore web application, and I like to write things into C dev. I think that just makes sense, and it gives me a nice short folder. Don't forget my PR. Oh yeah, I saw there was a PR out there for Stream Tools. I'm going to go through these couple questions first, and if we get to it, we'll get to it. Otherwise, we'll hit it next week. All right. So AspNetCore web application. If I choose to build this, and let's call this Stream CI demo. Right. I actually have a checkbox here to enable Docker support, and specifically I can say put this on Linux, and it will build my application and create an appropriate Docker file and all that gadgetry for me. CDev, shouldn't it be ASP.NET Dev? No. That would be maybe if I was on Linux. But no, this is of course I am Bipin Paul. Okay, cool. Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, there we go. All right. Let's see. So I could do it that way. The other way that you can create a project, of course, is down on the command line. So let's get onto the command line. And let me go over here. And if I create Stream CI demo, and I go into that folder, right? Let's do PowerShell. So I get all my cool Git widgets and whatnot. So I have PoshGit running. So I could say a git init right here. All right. So I now have a Git repository. And let's see. I can do now .NET new. And if I just say .NET new and don't pass anything else into it, I get a whole bunch of templates that I can use to build. So if I just want, let's scroll up here. .NET new. Let's create a web application with Razor pages. I'll create Razor. All right. So it'll create inside my current folder this project file for me, and it'll do a restore. And now I've got all of those files, but I don't have a Docker file. I thought there was a way to create a Docker file if I did .NET new. And it looks like that template is no longer here. That's a shame, because it's a pretty good Docker file. Okay. And there was a template. There was a yo template for it. I always dislike /var/dub. I don't blame you on that one. Gosh. Well, let's do this. .NET new, and then you can actually inspect and ask for help on some of these templates. And there's other features that you can light up with switches that you can pass in. So these different command line switches will help you set up things like authentication. And I don't see one for Docker here. That's a shame. All right. Can you just .NET 4.6.2 DLL? Can you use a .NET 4.6.2 DLL from a .NET Core app? Yes, worded chain. As long as your DLL is using things that are available in .NET Core, you should be able to just drag and drop and use it. In fact, I've got demos where I've used DLLs from like .NET 2 that work in .NET Core. If you're interested in seeing me demo that, drop me a line, put an issue in the repository, and I'll come back to it later. I want to answer these questions first. But I don't have a cool Docker file for this, and I feel like I'm going to need to steal one. And I don't really want to steal one, but I feel like that's going to be the way to go with this. Generate, that's not how you spell generate. Generate ASP.NET core Docker file. I thought there was a good way to generate one, and I don't see it. Yeah. This is kind of where we're going with it now. It's a shame. I mean, you could certainly lift and copy this in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let Visual Studio generate it. That way we have the one Visual Studio generates, which is actually really nice. And then I can stash it in the repository, and then anybody who wants to grab it for future reference, you'll be able to just get it. So I want to do a DL/S stream CI demo. Oh no. All right. Let me go up one. Stream CI demo. Yes, go away. Yes, yes. I should have passed the /Q so I didn't have to do this. I get it. Go away. Fine. Ha! /Q says quiet, and it just does it. All right. So let me come back over to Visual Studio, and I'll let it build it from here, because I want you to see what it looks like. Stop that. Stream CI demo. There we go. Create directory for solution. Sure. And we'll create it as a new Git repository. And we'll do a web application with Docker support running on Linux. No authentication. And I do have Docker running. You can't see it. It's just over here. Am I super sure? I am super duper sure. That's for sure. Okay. There we go. So what I want you to see about the Docker file that this creates, the default Docker file, it's really nice. It starts with a base image, and this is where we're going to end up deploying everything to. Now stop it, standby reloading. Asking me to format my C drive. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just added a status cats to a project. Thanks, Ward. So this is a multi-stage Docker file. It sets up a base image that we're going to create from, and then it sets up an image with all of the things that we need to build our application, all of the SDK stuff, and we're going to call that the build image. And we're going to copy over our solution and our CS proj, and then we're actually going to do a .NET restore. So restore all the features, all of the packages, and then copy over the rest of our source code and build. Now, why do we do that as 2 steps? Because this way, the intermediate image that happens during the .NET restore after those packages are restored will actually be cached, and the next time we go to build our image, it'll actually drop down to the copy, and we'll be just building at that point. So after it builds it, it goes and allocates another intermediate image that we're going to allocate as, hang on. It does a .NET publish at this point, right? From this build image, run .NET publish in release mode, and copy it over to the app folder in the base. And then from the base, we're going to set up the work directory. We're going to copy the app in, and then this is how we start it. All right? Pretty garden variety. A lot of stuff going on in there. There's a Docker Compose script here that is set up so that it initially knows how to build out and start your application. Now you can add other images in here if you want to start your application and have a database next to it. For the purposes of this, we're not going to go deep into Docker. We'll do that certainly tomorrow during the workshop. But this is quick and easy how this runs. So let's see what this looks like. I'm going to start it using Docker, and here right next to me, right over there, you'll see it's actually going to build inside of a container. And why build inside of a container? This way we have our build script, our build SDK, somewhere that it's effectively on the shelf. It's not contaminating all of our code. You don't have to have dozens of different copies laying around on your machine. You just run and get that standard SDK when you need it, build against it, and then put it away, and it's not contaminating or changing any of the content on my developer workstation. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And we get, of course, the lovely carousel and standard bootstrap format that we have had in our Visual Studio ASP.NET templates for years now. So, simple about page, simple contact page. That's not my phone number. So, simple, right? This is kind of what we expect. It should have created a GitHub repository for me. So let's go into stream CI demo. Should have initialized it because I told Visual Studio to do that. I thought it was here. I'm not in PowerShell. Haha! I'm in unknown. Look at that. Unknown. Not a Git repository. Interesting. Now it is. Alright, so now I can add everything to this repository, so let's do a... did it create a git ignore? It did. Good. So let's just do a straight git add, right? And then git commit, first commit. Good, there it is. And now let's put it into GitHub. So I'm going to go over here to GitHub and go back up to my profile. Damn, that's a good looking guy up there. All right, new repository. Please. All right, so this is stream CI demo. A demo of continuous integration using AspNetCore, VSTS, and Azure Bits. Public, sure. Give it a README. And I've already got a git ignore. We should add a license because licenses are very good things. I'm going to give it Apache, create the repository. So who's the guy in my GitHub profile picture? That's a guy that my first wife married. I only have one wife. Which reminds me, guys in the stream, I hope you treated your ladies right yesterday. Ladies in the stream, I hope your guys treated you right yesterday. It was Valentine's Day and all that. All right, no git ignore. It already created a git ignore for me, right? Visual Studio created one. It is right there. So I don't need to create another one. You could create one and tell it to start with something. So I'm going to clone this, and I'm going to just copy out that location. And I've already got a repository here. Treat each other right every day. You're absolutely right, Sudoku. You should treat each other right every day. But yesterday should have been a little bit more special. Since I already have a repository, I'm going to add a remote. So I'm going to call it origin. That's kind of like a standard, right? So we'll paste that in there. Hey, there's my friend Suze. Good morning. There's No Op Cat. And she's got the cool TwitchCon emote next to her name. Jealous. I'm very jealous. All right, so I've got a remote now, and now I can actually push my content to that remote, and I can pull from it also. So if I just type git pull, well, it doesn't know where to pull from. So I'm going to tell it to set my my upstream, right, where I actually exist at, down in here. Now, why isn't it pasting? That just feels bad. All right, git branch set upstream to equals origin / master, and I'm going to map that to master. There we go. So now I can do git pull, and it'll pull in. You stink. All right. Git merge origin master. Still doesn't like it. Do it. No, still doesn't like it. Why is that? Right? Have diverged. Have one and one different commits respectively. Yeah, fine. But it won't do it. I thought there was a way to force this, and it won't do it. Ah, yes, copy-pasting in a terminal, one of the most difficult things. Even the ones doing it for 20 years fail every once in a while. You're right. Why isn't git pull merging these things for me? Quiet, verbose, commit, no commit. I don't want strategies. I don't want to auto stash. Yeah, force. Refuses to update the head which corresponds to the current. Allow unrelated histories. Yeah, that's what I want. There it is. That one. See, let me paste that one. Ugh. Alright, so now if I do a git push, all my changes are up in GitHub, right? Alright. But we want to start setting up VSTS to do the integration for us, so that when it sees an update, go and do the build for us. So let's go over to VSTS and start setting up a build configuration for this. So I believe I have C# Fritz visualstudio.com. Come on, VSTS. Hey, look at that. All right, new project. And we will call this, what was it, Stream CI Demo? A demo of running continuous integration and deployment, for that matter, from GitHub with Azure and other cool stuff. So, all right, version control Git. Yep, sure. Because that's what we're using. Work item process. Agile, CMMI. I'm used to Agile. Not that I'm actually going to be building any work items here. I wish you could have public repos on VSTS. Me too. Me too. Windows 10 command prompt is a welcome improvement. It is. It absolutely is. Alright, I don't want to clone. I don't want to even input. I want to build code from an external repository. This one, right here. Setup build. Easy. You can use a build definition to automate your build process. The Stream CI demo team project doesn't have any build definitions. Duh. Because I just created it. Alright, select my repository. GitHub. We need your authorization to access your repositories. Right, so we will call this GitHub C# Fritz. Authorize. Do it. Alright. There we go. Authorized as user C# Fritz. Repository, so I get to choose my repository now. Well, come on. I'd like to choose one. Alright, now I've really confused things. Let's see, what do we got here? When the kids text you because they don't want to interrupt. Dad's streaming. Don't interrupt him. I've angered this. Nope, GitHub. And it's not finding any repositories. I've really screwed this up now, because I've got 2 GitHub repositories with the same name. Ugh. Ugh. Try it again. Alright, GitHub. It really is me. Authorize. Because I got punchy and I started double-clicking that. No, it's still not finding my repository. No, doesn't like it. Did it find it? No. No. What have I done? Why is it every time I go into VSTS with you fine folks here watching, I break it? And how do I... Alright, so... Can I clean up those connections? Is it under my profile? Teehee. Yeah, I know. Do you have network errors in your dev tools? I shouldn't have to be worrying about that. If I have to look at those things, that's a problem. Alright, Stream CI demo. I don't like having to think about all this stuff. Service hooks. Is it under here or is it under services? Let's see. Nope. There we go. Alright, can I right click on this? Nope. Disconnect. Go away. You disconnect too. Alright. Now I know I've got a lot of stuff in GitHub. Crumbs. Yeah. I want to build. Build and release. New definition. Alright, GitHub. And it doesn't find my repositories. Because I fed the gremlins after midnight. I know, right? Let's try this a different way. Create a new GitHub service connection authenticated by a personal access token. I shouldn't have to do this. Visual Studio Team Services. Where is it? My settings. Security. Account recovery sessions, 2-factor authentication. Where the heck is it? The tokens. You know you'll need to block that out. Block what out? You can't see my tokens. It should be hidden when it loads up. Is it under applications? No. There's all my stuff there. Nope. That's not where I want to be. Why couldn't Visual Studio Team Services be a little bit... Oh, finally it loads them. Alright. Let's see. Stream CI demo. There it is. Alright, master branch. Good. Go. Alright. We're going to be building an AspNetCore app, so we need to choose the AspNetCore template. So we'll choose that one. Alright. Does this sometime with Azure App Services as well? It's VSTS problem. Yeah, it just takes forever to load all the list of all the repositories I have because I'm hooked up to a lot. All right. I don't have any test projects out there. That's okay. So what I should be able to do, excuse me, I'm going to remove the test here. I do want publish, but it's not clear exactly where I'm publishing. And this is actually going to build the CS project, right? So it's literally just going to build that. And we want to end up with it inside of a Docker container. So we're going to need to change this at some point. Not version 1.x, we want 2. Just save. Yeah, save it. Alright. Restore. This needs to... You have to go through and change all of these. Yeah, I got it. Really, I do. My gosh. Here we go. And publish artifacts to VSTS. Yeah, sure, we want to see the artifacts. That's fine. Variables, so if you want to change any of the environment variables that you want running against this, I don't really care. Triggers, so here's where you can have the continuous integration fire whenever it sees a change on a different branch, right? That's fine, that's what I want. Yes, do it. I hate that I have to... Stop, I don't want any comments, just do it. Pull request validation. I'm not familiar with this feature. Branch pull, build pull requests from public forks of this repository. No, I don't care. It's just me. Options. Here we go. Define general build definition settings. So build number format. Ooh, if you want a badge. Hey. Sure, give me a badge. That'd be fun. New build request processing. Enabled queue and start builds when eligible agents are available. Create work item on failure. So when your build doesn't work, generate a work item that says, hey, you need to fix the build. Allow scripts to access the OAuth token. Yeah, I don't care. Build job timeout in minutes. It shouldn't go longer than 5 minutes. Build job cancel timeout in minutes. Yep. Demands. Specify which capabilities the agent must have in order to run this process. So this is for us to be able to say, hey, add this feature. Demand name is required. What are the demand names I can choose here? This makes no sense to me. And there's no help information here. Once again, feels bad. Keep builds for 10 days and 1 good build. Sure. Keep for 30 days, a maximum of 10 good builds. Okay, whatever. Go. Dear Lord. Alright. So I should be able to actually run the build now. No builds have run. Well, run it. Go. Alright. There it goes. So it already found a build agent out there in the big cloud, and it's compiling. Tarek Ogut? Welcome. Hello. So it's in progress, and when this is done, remember, it's building against a CS proj, and we'll get an AspNetCore application coming out the other side. We want it to build against the Docker container at some point. So we'll take a look at how to change and do that. .NET Core 2, yes. So it's in progress. Now this is where I'm kind of, right, this is where I get worried. I can't see exactly what it's doing. So, here it is over here. Oh, thank you for the follow. There we go. So now I can see the console and actually watch what's happening out there. Alright, so here it is going through the entire compile process, but this is giving me a DLL database. I'm not using a database with this. I'm strictly showing how to use CI with this. And we're going to drop Docker into the mix here and deploy. And now I'm out of coffee. Alright. Post-job cleanup. Blah, blah, blah. What is CI? CI is continuous integration. It's a way for us to automatically build and test our application whenever there's a commit into our source control. Good question. Thank you. Alright, so now if I take a look, it shows my build succeeded. It gives me some information about how long it took. If there were tests that were run, how long it took for those tests to go. I can see, exactly how long this took, and very quick, 23 seconds, 21 seconds. It's simple. I kind of expect it to run that quick. And I can actually explore and take a look at, well, what did it build here? It put together a zip file, and inside of this should be my entire application. Let's see. Right, I could download that. And there's my application, root with my DLLs, just as it would reside on a web server when it's ready to run. Now, how do we get it to build the Docker container? Question in the chat room. This is Azure services. This is Visual Studio Team services. It's free to use with your Visual Studio subscription, and you can use it to deploy really to any service if you'd like. We prefer Azure because I kind of work there. All right. So the next piece is, if we wanted to build the Docker container, how do we get it to do that? All right. Build, push, and run Docker images with VSTS. So there is a Docker integration task that you go and add, and then you add that into the mix. So let's do that. Not there. Let's do that for this build process. So that's my initial build that we defined. There it is. Let's add a new one. Can I ask a question about ORM? You can always ask. Absolutely. Go ahead, drop it out there. Other folks in the chat room can help out, and I can tune in and help out there as well. So I'm going to define this new build stream here. Let's see if that repository loads a little bit faster. No, of course not. This is still stream CI demo that I'm pulling from. It takes a really long time to load this. Yeah, I know. Which one is best, Dapper or Entity Framework? Depends. Depends on your needs. I don't think Dapper is running in .NET Core yet. Entity Framework does run with .NET Core. They're both great. It's up to you. Dapper is very lightweight. It's also not something that you'll be able to find folks to easily, grab and be able to use. I don't know if this one... ASP.NET with containers. I don't know if that one is AspNetCore with containers. This is where I want to be. But I think I want to start with the AspNetCore one. And there's never a concrete answer. Yeah. Yep. You're looking for performance. Which one works great on .NET Core, Kevin? I'm trying to think which way is easier to come at this because there isn't a template that just has everything in it. Let me start with the .NET Core again. And I'll add the container build to it. All right, so I need to change all of these over to 2. Restore. I can tell it to come from different feeds. You know, that's fine. I'm going to change this to 2 as well. I'm going to remove the test again. And you know what? I think I want to pull out publish and build here, and I want to change those. I think I want to change this whole thing. Redis and Postgres with Dapper. Gosh, I don't know. I don't particularly trust EF on Core yet, but I'm not Julie Lerman. I think it's pretty good over there. You know what? Let me... Gosh. Where is it? I want to add tasks here. And I want to add Docker to this. There it is. Yeah. And I don't even... Yeah, you know what? Let me remove these because my Docker image that I have knows how to do all that stuff. Container registry type, Azure Container Registry. So this is where are you actually pushing your container to after you're done building. So I have a bunch of Azure subscriptions here, and it should, there we go. I'm gonna grab, let's grab this subscription. I think that's the one I want. No, you know what? Let me grab this one, authorize it. It's gonna ask me, yes, sign in. And then it's going to want, yes, my password. And there you go. Watching the authorized spin. There we go. And I should have a container registry here. What? I thought I had one in that. No? Alright. This is the problem with having multiple subscriptions. Now I gotta do this again? Really? Are you working Microsoft? I do work for Microsoft, yes. There it is, Fritz Registry. That's the one I wanted. Action, build an image, yes. The Docker file is right at the... Is it right at the... Yeah, that's fine. I don't have any arguments I'm passing in. And additional image tags. Nah, that's fine. Include source tags, include latest tags. Advanced options. Nah. So now let's save and queue this. Sure. Go. Alright. So let's see what this one looks like. What's the naming convention on things that shouldn't? Shouldn't? What? Let me see here. Now I was told... What? While we're waiting for that to build... I'm going to log into Reddit here. Make sure that the Watch People code Reddit is all queued up with my information here. Huh, it says upcoming. Instead of live. Interesting. Whatever. I'm too scared to post in that Reddit. I posted in there, and I immediately got voted down. Like, literally, I went to 0 immediately. I was like, oh, thanks. I love you folks, too. Reddit can be just so toxic. So, yeah, it just has me listed as upcoming. And now we're waiting for the agent. Come on. Idle. That's from way long time ago. Here it is. Just waiting. Why aren't you doing something? Now I've done it. Where am I? Ah, there we go. Running my build. Alright, so I'm going to click on that and watch it. I'm creating PowerPoint builds today, so this stream is very chill to have running on the side. PowerPoint slides are a treat. Tomorrow is when the real fun's going to happen, because we're going all day. All day on stream. Live workshop. It'll be amazing. Reddit, where the Stack Overflow users go to yell at each other. There's a thing there that I don't understand. Trying to animate an explanation of steganography. Oh my gosh. I made workflow. I made work happen. Look at that. It's right there. Isn't it fancy? Building the image, and it's actually pushing it out right now. That's that last line down at the bottom. Tagging it, and it should push it. It's right, building the image, and I'm surprised I don't have. There we go. So there's my build steps, where it's going to start. When it's done, it should tag it, and then it'll do the push out to my Fritz registry, Azure registry. Would I mind revisiting your question? What was your question, playing with scissors? You're not used to this enter key yet, is the last one I see. Let me see over here. I'll go back to the Twitch dashboard. Got a new keyboard for Christmas. I don't remember if it was mentioned in... Oh, the naming convention. Would it be class foo_should.not_return_null? While that's building, I will go over and bring up... So we were in Stream Tools was the name over there, and we actually moved things out of test, and it's now in unit. Okay, it's over here, I guess. Where did my stuff go? While we're waiting for that to build. Stream Tools. Yeah, I think I'm in the wrong branch. Alright. There they are. We didn't do that one. We did, I think it was... So everything, all of our unit test classes, our fixtures, were classes that ended with the word should, so that we would get this nice reading syntax of stream service current follower count should match current follower count given one service. So in your question, playing with scissors, what's the naming convention on things that shouldn't happen? Would it be class foo_should.not_return_null? Yeah, I would go that way. I think that's fair. Alright. I see some more happening back here. Now it's building out. It's pulling in the Visual Studio, the ASP.NET images for me during this build. Now, playing with scissors, foo should not is your class name. So, right, unless you have a class of all the things that foo should not do, then maybe you pull the not into the class name. So, oh no, Opcat's going to tune into the workshop tomorrow. It is going to be crazy. Suze, we're going to be using Visual Studio Live Share throughout the day, which is going to, in the testing that we've done, it looks like and it feels like in Office, when you have collaborative editing and you see the little flags where people are writing in the document, that's what you see in your code. Looks really, really cool. So, all right, let's see. I'm excited to see this in the real world. It is amazing. And what was really neat during our testing, and you'll see this tomorrow, well, you won't see it completely tomorrow, is that when I build the AspNetCore app on my machine here on the stream, the guest that is connected to it sees the build, and then when it opens a browser on my machine, it opens a browser on their machine also and takes them to the website. How cool is that? Let's see, then it sounds like I should be doing both because I test a lot of should and a lot of should not. Okay, hey, you know what? Whatever standard works for you. Using a dot will NS the class too. Is that what you would want? Yeah. It's just pseudocode. I'm doing this in another language. Cool. Now, why is this build taking so long to pull in and run my my build here? This is taking way long to build that image. I mean, almost 6 minutes? Come on now. If the code changes the guest makes, doesn't compile, can we make it send them an electric shock? That's it. There's a Visual Studio Code extension that you can make. We'll hook that up with some IoT, and everybody will be happy about that. Hook that up to developers' chairs. Oh no, French. Yeah, this is... I'm glad I'm not demoing this on stage. Don't need to worry about that. So this is still running, and it should build that Docker image and put it into my Azure container. While that's loading, I'm going to go get over to Azure. Azure. All right, so these are all the resources I use for the stream. So this is information about how much work my blog is doing. I've got, what's this called? Analytics, right? I've got data analytics wired up to my blog. Where's that? Here it is. Here's my registry. And I should be able to see, not access keys, repositories. So we should see the new one pop up here when this is done. And it's kind of sitting here now, and I feel bad about this. The App Insight stuff doesn't work in Chrome in Portal Azure. I've heard some of that, and I don't know what to tell you, because it doesn't work great in Edge either. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but I'll stick to Firefox and be an equal opportunity offender. Coded Beard, pro tip, if you're doing any lift and shift container work for .NET Framework apps, don't use the hosted agent because it will hit timeout limits just downloading server core. Amen. The downloads here are crazy. Cannot find the file specified. Trying to copy in my code. Shouldn't it have had that locally when it ran? So now, yeah, it's going to error out here. Yeah. Hang on. Let's go back to this. Right, create and configure a Linux build agent. Oh, dear Lord. No. Use the Docker extension in VSTS. Docker file, image name. Right, it should be here locally. What if you made this phase 2 of your other build dev? Don't want to do that. And I don't want to connect out to that registry. I want to just use the local one here. Let's go back here. Edit my build definition. So this build an image. Right, so it found my Docker file. Debugging issues that take 8 minutes to see if your change made a difference. Oh yeah. Oh. Tell me about it. I should. Oh, here's the thing. Right, because there's a way you're supposed to do this with the Docker Compose. It's easier to start from one of the existing Docker definitions. Some of the steps are not obvious. That's what I thought, Coded Beard, and you know what? It's really not obvious. So let's do that. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to remove this one then. Try it again. Oh, stop it. Really? I'm now just going to name all these things build. So now I got to wait for the repository to load again before I can go and choose my CI. Long time ago, I used to do this with TeamCity, and it was a heck of a lot easier to do. That's just me. Yeah. Come on. Give me my list of repositories here. Stream, CI, demo. Just be glad you're not trying to run with ASP Classic apps. Oh, not going near that one. Alright. So ASP.NET with containers. I don't think that's the one I want. Build an image and push to Docker or Azure Container Registry. Yes. Build an image. Azure subscription was this one. That one. Build an image. And the Docker file that I want is that one. Use the default build context, which should be off the root. Set the build contents to the directory that contains the Docker file. No. I'm going to be up one, so I'm in the same folder as the SLN. I can't do cool naming convention because PHP unit is stupid. Oh. Alright. Push an image. Azure Container Registry, subscription. I gotta do this again? And put it to this one. Push an image. Yes. Alright. Go. Dear Lord. Yes, please, go. And now I gotta wait for an agent. Hey, we got it. Terrific. Don't have to wait those 5-10 minutes for it to start like I did last time. Here we go. Or maybe I jumped the gun. Because all these steps that it's suggesting we have to go through to build this just feels like overkill. Right? Build all these images and then it's way too much. I should be able to just say build and deploy. Here we go. Yeah, see, it has to install Docker, and then I'm going to have to wait for the pull. Has NUnit gotten easier to set up with Core? I got it working in one project, but it wasn't easy. You know what? I don't know. I've been using XUnit with .NET Core. NUnit's supposed to work with it, but I haven't tried it yet. Where is it? I saw that. Alright, so it's downloading and installing my image. Might make sense if VSTS had specialized build agents for Docker builds which included Docker and common images. Good point. Bit O'Brien, welcome. Thanks for the follow. I look forward to hearing from you in the chat room. I kind of agree with you, though, Shahid Dev. It feels like the pull to get these images in is a pain in the neck, right? Because I'm pulling two images. I'm pulling that base AspNetCore 2.0 image, and then I've got to pull another image to do with the SDK to do the build, and that SDK is a big, it's a big size image here. Long-time creeper, first-time followers. Well, thank you, Bit O'Brien. I appreciate you clicking the follow button there. See, if I do Docker image, that's not Docker images. See, where is it? There's Microsoft AspNet Core, and it's 280 meg. And the AspNet Core build is 2 gig. So this is going to take a long time to download that other image, which feels bad. And we're going to end up sitting here waiting for another 5 minutes. And I don't want to spend all the rest of our time together here for the next half hour waiting for this to build. And I really feel like a number of these things in here are not friendly. It's not easy to navigate around and use. I just don't have the context, the tribal knowledge to use some of these things. And the amount of work that some of these things want us to do, right? Are you kidding? I don't want to do that. So you can build a custom agent to run on a virtual machine, so that you don't have to constantly pull it. Yeah, and then end up with the cache. You're right. Playing with scissors. That just feels... Right? Why am I setting up my own machine to do my own builds? You know? So I'm not going to be able to get to this thing finishing doing the build here. Just because it takes so long to pull into a hosted service. Yeah, now we gotta wait for this one. Downloading and pulling in the various layers. And this is the one that's 2 gig. Right, the AspNet Core build image. Yeah. I'm gonna have to skip on this because I want to get to those other questions. And it's just not gonna run. I'm not gonna get this thing delivered in the next half hour. Alright. I'll have to come back to this because... And I'm gonna end up having to do some setup and getting it... Yeah, I know. Make a nice way to make images. I need to build my own machine that's gonna build images for me. Alright. Let me go back. Let me get to those other questions that we had. And I will return to this. VSTS with default configuration takes too long to build Docker images. Alright, I want to get to these other questions that we had. How do we introduce other DI engines to AspNetCore? Ward has a question. If we're using on-prem TFS CI/CD, okay, acronym overload there. On-premises Team Foundation Server, that's what TFS is, right? So that's if you have your own version of VSTS installed on-premises. CI is continuous integration, so whenever you do a commit to source control, it automatically does a build. CD, Word is referring to continuous deployment. So when it's done building, if it built successfully, push it out to a web server somewhere so that we can look at it. We are currently using build agents on our own machines. Can you discuss that versus having a set of build servers? So if you have, this is a topic that I'm not too familiar with, but if build agents, right? They're laying out they're right. If I understand correctly, there's just a hive of them out there that are used and they're paved over as needed. But having your own build servers, you control all the content that's on them, and you can kind of put down exactly the features you need. If I remember and understand that question properly, build agents are a lot more flexible because you can light them up and turn them down as you need them, versus having to maintain and feed build servers and do the upkeep and Windows updates on those. So that's the difference I see between the two. I think for things like this, which, I mean, I'm just building an AspNetCore application. This should kind of be something cached and available out there because we want to enable folks to build AspNetCore apps. I don't want to have to build my own machine hanging out there and manage it just to build my images, but it looks like I'm going to need to do that. So I'm going to have to go through that and do some prep work for our next time we get together on this, which will probably be sometime next week. I want to get to these other questions. So how do we introduce other DI engines into AspNetCore? So this is the dependency injection framework, right? You want to be able to use different ways to get it. Can't we use VSTS to build our AspNetCore app and then just build Docker image with AspNetCore runtime? Yes. You're going to build with several different steps, but we've got this great little Docker image that automatically builds everything for us. Just use that. So, yes, this is doing just .NET new, and it's already taking almost 10 minutes. If this was something more complicated, I've got my Docker image built so that it knows my Docker file built, so it knows how to do everything necessary for my project. The default hosted agents are taking way too long to build this for our time here, and I would have to build something and set it up in order to optimize and cache those results so we can get the faster build times. So, Superman AK907, hello. Welcome to our chat room. I want to show how to use the other dependency injection engines, and there's particularly a great sample out here about how to use AutoFac with .NET Core. In fact, I think I may have written one of these. AutoFac and .NET Core. I don't want to go to that. Where's AutoFac? Trouble configuring AutoFac and .NET Core. Dependency injection with AspNetCore. Here we go. By our friends Steve Smith and Scott Addy. Yes. So there is a bit in here about how to use AutoFac. Real easy to do. So I'm going to go back to our project over here. And I am going to add AutoFac to this project. In which file do you do dependency injection? Yep, it's in startup CS. So we'll show you that in just a second here. AutoFac is a common dependency injection container that you can use. So it supports .NET Standard version 1.1. That means that it'll work with .NET Framework 4.6 and all of the .NET cores, which is really cool, right? That it just works everywhere we need it. So now that added AutoFac into my project, but I need to actually configure my AutoFac container and get it loaded in here. And that's all we need to do. Let's copy that into my startup here, and we'll take a look at what this does. So we configure dependency injection container inside the configure services method. So I'm going to paste these in. Dependency injection container is what will satisfy these things that are being requested to be passed in to our various classes. I'll probably want AutoFac extensions package as well, because you'll have to add a line to program CS as well. Let me come back to that. Let's come back over here. Let's go to NuGet. What's being suggested is the AutoFac dot, what is it, dependency injection. Dependencies resolver, is that the one you're talking about? I don't think that's the one you were referring to. AutoFac extensions dependency injection. That one. Let's go add that. There it is. AutoFac implementations to the interfaces in Microsoft Extensions dependency injection abstractions. All right, go ahead and add that. There we go. All right. So now let me control dot and bring in these things. So there's my using AutoFac. I'm going to end up generating a default module. That's fine. Go ahead and put it out there. And we will add that. Where's default module? This needs to implement iModule. Yep. And then I can implement the interface. There we go. All right. This return is not actually how we do this now. You must change configure services so that it returns iService provider. So let's change this. All right. So all we're doing here is we're effectively offloading the configuration of all these things so that AutoFac does all of its stuff. And right, we do all of our configuration that we want over there inside of our modules. We populate it with any of the services that we load up over here, right? So if we do things like services, right, add authentication, authorization, cores configuration, entity framework capabilities, if we use any of these things that kind of come out of the box with .NET, you can still do those there, and then at the end here, configure and load up and say, you know what, use AutoFac as my management for that. And standby reloading, yes, modules are great for different layers, for layered projects, because you can do all kinds of things to specify different things get registered in different locations. So let me see if I remember my AutoFac here. I should be able to say component registry and be able to say register and then specify exactly what's being registered, right? I can map things here. Right, so add registration source says go get stuff from a different location that defines these. But I believe what I want to do is I want to say register, and then I forget what the component registration looks like. Yeah. Right, I should be able to say, let's do the default module. That's a great idea. And then use that syntax. That's why it didn't look familiar to me. Grab that. No, not reflection. Bad. Not that one. Autofac. There we go. Now I can say load. And then builder dot register entire assembly modules, generic objects, instances of things. That's what I was looking for. Register types. Right, so I can specify the interface and then what's actually implementing that. So, right, if I did something like public interface, I repository, right, gosh, object get by ID, int ID, right, and then if I had a real public class, my repository, and this needs to implement iRepository, yes, implement that interface, right? No, return new object. Right, I don't really care. It would actually do something important there. But I can say register type, and then it's, oh gosh. Right, my repository, and then I've got all the different things here. Where's it? iRepository, my repository. Is that the syntax? What's the syntax for this? I forget. They're not register instance. What's that look like? Oh, it's as. Yeah. So I would say my repository. There we go. So that would register that, and this module gets loaded by the startup, puts it in and loads up the other services, and then we get our full autofac provider working there. Yeah. So it's been forever since I've used autofac. Ninject, I barely touched that one. Now I'm so used to using the default provider that comes with this. So right now when I build out my pages over here, when I actually have an index page, I can consume that dependency, right? Right, by receiving an iRepository. This dot repository equals, and we can control dot and generate that. And now I have a way to go get that information, and it's available to me, and this is just passed in when I need it. So that's a little bit about how dependency injection works, but that's also how you register a new DI framework if you want to use it. You need to return an appropriate iService provider that's implemented behind the scenes for it. Now, I know autofac supports this. I thought Ninject also supported it. No. Ninject AspNetCore. I thought they put a shim in for it. Ninject does not support that. Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. I thought they changed it. There we go. Ninject 3 does it. 3.3. So now you can use Ninject and be able to use that container if you're familiar and you like using Ninject with it. And I'm nearly positive Castle Windsor. I'm nearly positive that it does not support it. Let's see. Oh no, looks like they added it. No, that's autofac. Windsor registration helper. Oh, maybe it does work. I haven't tried it. But Castle Windsor is like, right, there are so many bells and whistles in that one. It's very, very thorough what you can configure there. Let me see how this built. Ooh, looks like it built everything. Push an image, push job cleanup. Looks like it may have actually pushed it out to my Azure portal. Let's take a look-see. To my Azure registry. That's not how you spell Azure. Come on. And it was over here. It was either this one or this one. That one. And repositories? Yes, look at all my credit remaining. There it is. So there you can see everything, all the intermediate stuff for that container. So it pushed it out there, and the last bit of that question that we had earlier was, how do I get it so that when there's an update to this thing, it actually does the continuous deployment? I'll come back. So what I'm going to do, I'm kind of bouncing between questions now, aren't I? I'm sorry. Answered on Feb 15. Mark that one as completed. How do you use the Bootstrap components? All right. Let me see if I can get this to do the continuous deployment here real quick. And that's going to be a Linux app service. So let's add a new app service. Web app. And no, I think it's like web app on Linux, I thought. Or web app for containers or something. There it is, web app for containers. There we go. Allows customers to use their own containers and deploy them to app services as a web app running on Linux, similar to the web app solution, web apps for containers, blah, 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 yeah. Yep, you're right, Shahid. All right, here we go. So enter a name. Stream, what was it? Stream CI demo. Thank you. And I was actually in, I think it was this one. Sure, that's fine. No, I want a different, I guess we're using that one. Configure container. I'm going to use my Azure container registry. This registry. And I'm going to pull that image. So now I can specify a tag on it. There is a way to get it to pull the latest one. Jonna91, John A91, at. Hello. So if I create this, there is a way after it's done to actually get it to do the automatic deployment. Let's see what happens here. Deployment in progress. Woohoo! Alright. Close up all this other nonsense. And we should see it pop up here. Why isn't it here? Deployment succeeded. Well, pin it to the dashboard. Yeah, I know you pinned it. Some of this is like, yeah, I know. You know? Let me get access to that thing. So now I should be able to browse to this and get that same website that we were seeing here running locally, right? Really? Now that just feels bad. Activity log. What do we got? Update website. Yeah. What I want to be able to do is... Shahid Dev is saying, can take a moment to pull the image. You're right. This is the continuous delivery feature that I want to use. And I'm going to configure that. I want to take a look. continuous deployment. Turn that on. Require use of Azure Container Registry SKU. I am doing that. Save it. Do it. Right. Waiting. Waiting. Still unavailable. Waiting. Maybe? The image isn't too big. By default, it's like 45, 50 meg. It's not too bad. And of course, it's still not going to load for me. I think you're right, though. It may take a minute or two. I meant it to publish on a Linux VM, not on some container service. There is a way to do that. This is actually a Linux VM that's hosting this. By using the container app service, this allows us to light up and use some other features by default. But I get your question. We'll take a look at that. No, not loading. Tell you what, I'm going to go back and I'm going to annotate this. Should be deployed to Linux VM, not container app service. There is a way to do this. And I may need to recruit some experts to help me with that. Who do this on a more regular basis than me. All right. I want to show this last question while I have time here, because I think this one's actually should be pretty easy to show. The Bootstrap v3 date picker and how to use that. Right, so the question here is, and nowadays, of course, things are, you can get through NuGet, AspNetCore bundles, Bootstrap, yes, but it doesn't contain a decent date picker that I need. I tried adding the NuGet package, but the jQuery function .datePicker is not defined. Right, it needs to be inside your, the jQuery stuff needs to be available, and the Bootstrap JavaScript needs to be available on your page. So let's take a look over here, and let's pull in that project, so that package. So I'm going to manage NuGet packages, and it was Bootstrap v3 date picker. Where is it? Let's see. Twitter Bootstrap. There is a Bootstrap MVP. No. There is a bunch of TagHelpers here that you can use. And my friends on the ASP.NET Monsters were building some TagHelpers for these. If you're using Bootstrap 4, you need the Tempeus Dominus one instead. What the heck is that? Let me see here. Let me see. What do we got here? It's not the... I'm not familiar with that. TagHelper samples markdown. No. TagHelper samples Bootstrap. This one. Alright, let's install this. Time Lord. Aha! Bootstrap and date. I don't... yeah, incompatible. Twitter... Bootstrap v3... Oh, look at that. Let's grab that one. Alright, and I'll remove the other one. This one. Let me see if your TagHelper is built the same way that I built and used mine. This should be real easy to wire up, right? Minimum setup. There's nothing there. Code. That's what it... Where is it? Div input ID datetime picker 1. Yeah, but you're still writing all your JavaScript here. The link in the issue is for the Bootstrap 4 version. Really? Alright, hang on. This one? Holy crow. Alright, let's grab this. Because you're kind of going in the same direction that I like to go with this. No? Yes. Yes? No. There is a Fluent Bootstrap package, but not sure if it does core yet. Alright, hang on. Now we're getting a little bit confused here. I'm going to add a folder here for TagHelpers. I'm going to add a class. I don't care what it's named because I'm going to refactor it. Let's start bringing these in. Not bad. So I generated the datetime picker style. Yep, we're going to need datetime. Where'd it go? Nope, this is an enum is what you had it as. Yep. And we'll grab those 3. All right, we need the view context. This is... Why am I not getting... There, system IO. Why doesn't it like add class? Why doesn't it like add class? Oh, is that something that helper that you wrote? All right. Yeah. So here's what's going on. You've got a tag helper that is hanging out here that allows you to put together a simple datetime picker, right? It's generating and doing all of the script calls. It should be doing it somewhere later on. And I don't see where. But we added the package, right? We added and your manual and demos. I don't see where you're adding this into the mix here. jQuery, Moment.js, Bootstrap.js. Ugh. So I did that. Another Angular wrapper, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to do all that. So here's... Right, and this is intended to be a tag... Is this intended to be a tag helper? No. Alright. My specific problem was simpler than that. No need for tag helpers. Added package, edit page to add the picker. Boom, not rendered how you expect. I did update the gist to include the add class extension. Aha. Alright. This goes a little bit further than what I was kind of expecting. Let me do this. I don't want to change signature. Oh, I need to put that in a helper class. Haha. Tag helper extensions. All right. And I should be able to, yep, move it to its own file. And then that should just work. Oh, this needs to be a static class. There we go. All right. So what you're doing here, what I'm seeing, is that you're adding, you're generating your appropriate markup for this. That's great. But we still need a whole bunch of different JavaScript and CSS. Not rendered how you expect. Yeah. I'm not on the context that you're looking for here. I feel like I'm halfway into chasing this, and I don't have all the context on it. Because I added this bootstrap v3 datetime, and it includes a less file. Ugh. Okay. And moment.js. And this isn't really how we want to be installing these things. Over here, what we really should be doing is installing it with Bower, or NPM for that matter. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to do the install. Sure, I'll do it with Bower. I'd rather do it with NPM. Do you have it on NPM? Because NuGet, yeah, it's not going to do it quite the way that I want it to. Oh, it is on it. Oh, good. So I'm going to look for that. Stream CI demo. All right. And then let's go into stream CI demo. Cool. And I don't have an NPM here. Yep. What is it? NPM, isn't it a knit? Yep. Sure. All right. Whatever. I don't care. Go. Yes. Please. That's fine. Do it. Yes. Ugh. All right. NPM install. Oh, man. What the hell is that? There we go. Isn't it something like that to do the save? There we go. Edit 5 packages. Cool. So I'll go back over here. NPM, there it is. Bootstrap jQuery moment time zone. Oh boy. So I'd want to have, yep, lib. I've already got Bootstrap and jQuery over here. And I'm going to end up chasing, effectively, your code around here. Standby. Let me do a start, just so I can copy and paste this easily. Right, so down under here, look at all the goodies. So I don't see a dist folder here. So I would need to copy all this stuff out, move it around over there. Yeah, see, I'm just about out of time here, and I don't want to go chasing this stuff around. But I also need to bring in an appropriate version of jQuery and put that up in the header. Let's do this. Let's copy these. Let's see if I can get this to run real quick here. Go into my layout. And if I can't get this running real quick, I'm gonna have to pass on it. Date picker standalone CSS. What's the difference between the two? It's not clear to me. We'll go over to layout. Bring that in. And I'll bring in this one. Yep, put it there. No bootstrap required. Oh, even better. I'll put it outside so it's always brought in. And then, if I'm reading this right, I should be able to... Where's the tag helper at? It's in this file. I should be able to just use a date time tag and get that to work. I need to reference... Where's my view imports? Namespace, add tag helper. Yep, we need to add one more. Add tag helper. And this is stream CI demo. And that should include date time. ASP4, ASP style, and then I should be able to say, let's just choose date. Let's see if I can get that to work. Sure, start in Docker. Needs moment.js as well. No, NuGet for, and Vortex is pointing out, NuGet for AspNetCore only delivers binaries. So that's the difference. That's a challenge that you're going to have back and forth between the two. So you're saying I also need moment. I don't have a 4 on this. And your 4 is looking for a model expression. Let me change this. Let's really mess with this. My object. Oh no, I should be able to say just right var date time equals date time dot today. Yep. And then ASP4 equals date time. Right, I should be able to do that. Great, so all things JS carry on as per the old days, kind of. It's not going to like that. About model does not contain a definition for it. Oh, come on now. Because the model... you're going off of the model there. Alright, I'll go into the about model for this. There it is. Public date time. Get and set, and I'm going to set a default value of date time today. One more time. Yeah, the idea that the AspNetCore team ran with is we want to make sure that if you're a JavaScript developer and you're used to doing things with JavaScript, you can do that and it just works great. And the date picker didn't show up. Is that because I didn't have moment.js? Alright, let me bring... I shouldn't have to change this. I should be able to just bring that into my layout. So let's grab it. Lib. Date picker. I didn't copy moment over. So, node modules, moment. I'm going to grab the minified one. Can I just grab that one? And then this. And let's put it... Where the heck did it... Put it there. Still isn't loading it. Moment's there now. I was hoping there was a way these days of grabbing a package of JavaScript stuff and rolling it into my package with all the manual fiddling around. So, I don't think you're too far off. And when I'm... Right, I'm not seeing anything coming out here in the console to tell me that the date picker isn't loading properly. And when I look at the source here... Right, div class, ID, datetime picker, and it's date target, datetime picker, data val required, blah, 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 blah. And it's a type of text, and it's got a value, but it's not actually putting up the font awesome stuff and all of that. Which should have been included here. The tag helper is for BS4 and the temp, if not the picker you're using. Keep mentioning that. Yeah. Let me back off for a second and let me just talk quickly about how I think that these things should be built, and then we can revisit that later. This still isn't publishing properly here. Man, that Windows Explorer preview of the code triggers me. I know, isn't that weird? I don't know why that's not loading. Alright. The way that I think these things should load, right? If I want getbootstrap.com, right, and documentation. Let me find one of these here. Components. Yeah, let me just do an alert, okay? So if I wanted to build an alert, okay, using Bootstrap, where's the tag helper folder? There it is. Class. Right. And I want to be able to decorate any whatever. I'll just let it do that. And this implements tag helper. Init, process async. I'll just do process. Output dot tag name equals, and I'm going to change this to a div. I want to put whatever text was already there in it. Output dot add class. I like that extension method. I'm going to add the alert class, and I also want to add... Let's just do alert primary, just to get it out there. Output dot attributes add role alert, and that's all that I need to get this to work if Bootstrap is installed. So if I go back to my about page. Right? Didn't build yet, so it doesn't know what alert is. There it is. This is an alert. I'm doing test unit instead of just test, and I just wasted about 20 minutes debugging why the auto load. Oops. So, no worries. So, right, this... div class alert primary. This is an alert. That should be div class alert, alert primary, role equals alert, and it's not formatting it. Why isn't it formatting it? Because, nope, there's Bootstrap. And there's Bootstrap.js. All right. For proper styling, use one of the 8 required contextual. Well, I don't want the jQuery plugin. That should have just worked right inside my page. I'm in About CSHTML, refresh. Why am I not getting it to load? All right, now I'm annoyed. Let me set this as the startup. Is Docker not playing nice with me? Output tag. Output tag. Output.tag name equals div. It's formatting it properly. For some reason, though, I'm not getting that applied to it properly. I mean, there it is. It's Bootstrap 337. Is this a version mismatch? Where is it? Alert. Div class alert, alert success, alert danger. That's why they changed the thing on us. There it goes. So I'm gonna go back into my tag helper. Right, so I've literally done the bare minimum to get a bootstrap component working. Okay. There. So I have an alert tag that just works over here. But here's the problem, and this is to Standby Reloading's to his point, right? You need to have all these other libraries included and referenced appropriately inside your layout. So here's what I like to do, and I want to kind of push people towards being able to do. There's a way in TagHelpers to register things to be added. I want to go and inside of here, what I started doing, and this is a little old school way to do it. And then be able to say something like output.content right link rel equals style sheet, right? Is it href? Is that, or do I have that backwards? Yeah, href. And I want instead so now when you look at my layout page, head is a tag helper. So if I remove that, and I remove that, this will still work because it'll add my references from the CDN appropriately into this. See? So I'm including and building that to come along as well. Does that make sense? So, right? while I appreciate the work that's been done here and referencing and pulling in the other libraries, the challenge is you're requiring these other libraries to be pulled in and referenced and added locally. So, right, I'm literally just saying, go add an external reference to this. But I could definitely see a place where, you know what, if you want to have these locally as well, put it down in this folder. And I could see maybe some detection of, hey, if you're in the development environment, output this block of HTML somewhere on the page, or hide some code somewhere, or even put down in your README for your NuGet that includes this tag helper, right? Because the tag helper delivers just code. Hide somewhere a little bit of a README that says this is the libraries that you need to bring down in the folder that I expect to see them in order to use this and use the local copies of things. Otherwise, I'll generate and pull things off of the CDN for it. What do you think? I see your nice comment there, Stand By Reloading, but does that make sense to other folks in the chat rooms that let's not try and get people to crisscross package managers to go find everything. Let's give them one way to go and add everything in one place. Bcoder 1968, thank you for joining us. I'm actually wrapping up right now, but tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow we're going to be doing that workshop all day on stuff that I know very, very well and I am an expert at, and we won't be learning together. I'll be doing more of a teaching on that. But I think that's where I want to end today. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense of how I think you should be building your tag helpers. There is a way to register stuff in the header from within the tag helper now, and I haven't done it yet. To like register scripts from there. And yeah, it's okay, big deal. From inside to add script to the bottom or anywhere else. Right. No. Section scripts and be able to... Right, this is what I do. Insert a value into tag helper context.items, and then it is set in your custom tag helper. There you go. Yeah, that makes sense. Right, so... Oh, I'm debugging. I can't... Context.items. Right, and then I can add stuff in here. And then inside of my head tag helper, I can say context.items and pull stuff out of there. So... Alright, I'm going to remove these two lines. Alright. Sure, just add everything in. I don't care. Showed some tag helper work with Bootstrap. I'm not thrilled how that ended up. I don't feel like it landed well. And it's certainly not deploying properly. It'll write this into my container properly because I have the continuous integration wired up. I should be able to see this build kick off because I pushed something into master. Right? It should see it and just kick off. Or maybe not. Is the build trigger set? Trigger. I didn't have it enabled. Batch changes while a build is in process. Yes. Yep, go. So that'll build, and we'll have a new version sitting on our Docker container soon, right? So I'm going to do some work to figure out how we can optimize this and get this to actually build a heck of a lot faster, because that 10-minute build that's not legit for me, right? 12-minute build. So I will do some work to research to figure out how to make this better, and we'll come back and revisit, not the gist. So I'm going to close this. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to close that one. But I'm going to revisit this one sometime next week. And we'll take a look at getting this working better. But thank you everybody for jumping in the chat room today. 41 folks hanging out there between Twitch and Mixer. Thank you very much. Tomorrow's the big day. Right, this recording, when I'm done here, we're going to push that out to YouTube, and you'll be able to catch it later if you want to take a look. Comment on anything. Tell me what I was doing wrong. Give me a little bit of constructive feedback. I always look forward to that. But tomorrow's the big workshop. 8 hours. We're going to build a simple app, start to finish, here live on stream. Pair programming all day. 3 separate guests. A ton of fun. All right? So... yeah, thank you, Meat Popsicle. It just frustrates me that I'm out of time and I wasn't able to get it to land quite the way that I wanted to. And that's me being a perfectionist, which I think all of us are a little bit of, right? You want to have perfect code and perfect applications. And sometimes that's just not reasonable. So, thank you again for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, for a heck of a lot of code. Bring your friends. Tell them to jump in the chat room. Let's see if we can break 100 people watching us at the same time in the chat room. That'd be really cool to see. All right? So thanks so much. We'll see you then. Take care.